Hey, good morning, everybody. Let's go ahead and get started. Just wanted to say, do some introductory remarks, go over some of the highlights from the past year, acknowledge the long list of people, and talk a little bit about the flow of the retreat for the next couple of days. So welcome, everybody. We had a in-person joint retreat with Doctor a couple of months ago, but this is our first MPW in-person retreat since 2019. So thanks everybody for coming. It's great to see everybody and appreciate your dedication and commitment to the Resource Center. So, all right, how do we advance this? So, on behalf of Michigan and our partner institutions, University of Pittsburgh and the Weiss Institute, along with Doctor, our companion resource center in California, the two resource centers comprising the overall DocTrack program, and especially the NIDCR. I want to welcome you and thank you for coming today and tomorrow. I acknowledge several groups of people. First, our external advisors, Marie Setti, Erica Dubouvier, and Brendan Lee. Thank you for your time. This group oversees the overall consortium, not just our resource center, but Doctor as well. Thank you for your time and dedication. I want to acknowledge our operating committee. And the names highlighted in blue are new members that have joined us in the last couple of years. Since this is our first in-person event since 2019, I want to give the people in blue a chance to introduce themselves so you can connect the name with a face and be better able to engage them today and tomorrow. So if you want to stand up and say a few words, introduce yourself, that'd be appreciated. First, Connie Chang. Hey, thanks, Connie. Ken Hargraves and Darnell Kegler can't attend in person. They are attending virtually. Ken from San Antonio, Darnell from Michigan. Katie Moynihan, if you want to introduce yourself, please. Okay, thanks, Katie. Vicki Rosen. Hey, thanks, Vicki. And Tony Torres. Hey, thanks, Tony. Thanks, everybody. Welcome. This is not advancing. I am challenged. Thank you. As always, Mitsumi bails us out. I want to acknowledge Amanda Malio and Lillian Shum from the NIDCR. They're the program directors for the DocTrack program. Thank you for your guidance and support and your attendance. And most especially the people behind the scenes putting together all the logistics, Patrick, Jamel and Katie from Pittsburgh, and Elise and Mitsumi from Michigan. Thank you for all of your hard work. It takes a lot of effort to put together an event like this. So, welcome everybody, and thank you for coming. Thank you for your time, and we acknowledge the support of the NIH for the DocTrack program, not only the funding, but the conceptualization and helpful guidance in the program. Tomorrow morning, there'll be a breakfast session with people that have a footprint in entrepreneurship and innovation in the doc space. I want to acknowledge the panelists, Kevin Bird, Steve Cornelius, Jean Dorff, and Vicki Rosen. Thank you for your time, and it should be an engaging session tomorrow over breakfast. Jeannie Ambrewster from the Avenues will moderate. Francine Berkeley from the Avenues will moderate other sessions, and I want to thank some of the session experts in the regulatory and QA/QC space for their time and effort in some of the ITP discussions. So the organization for today, we'll spend most of today with ITP presentations, updates from existing teams, and presentations from some of the newer teams that have submitted proposals. This afternoon, there'll be what we call an ITP exhibit hall, a chance for deeper and longer-term engagement with the different ITPs. It'll be like a poster session where you can, ITP teams will have a chance to engage with one another and with everyone in the audience, and then reception this evening. Tomorrow, as I mentioned, there'll be a breakfast session around innovation in the doc space, and then some parallel sessions. There'll be ITP networking sessions in which the ITP teams get to engage with one another, share best practices, and especially in the non-scientific domains like the regulatory space, commercialization, fundraising, things like that. In parallel, the leadership will have a closed-door session in which we'll evaluate progress and discuss proposals and make funding decisions. This is a flow chart that's derivative of the original NIDCR conceptualization of the DocTrack program. We've progressed from a 12-month planning stage through stage 2, in which the resource centers, the structure and operations were developed, and initial cadre of ITPs were funded and catalyzed. And we're now in the stage 3, the consortium stage, where we work very closely with CDoctor, and as one consortium, 2 resource centers recruit and guide projects to the ultimate goal of in-human studies. In terms of a timeline, we're at the end of year 3 of stage 3. We have about 2 years, perhaps with some no-cost extension years, to go on that, and we're in discussion of what will come after that. A little more specifically, we've developed a structure in which the projects enter a funnel. They're initially vetted at a high level for clinical need and commercial potential, and upon being supported, we ask them to take off an academic hat and put on more of an industrial and development hat, and work to create a milestone-based approach towards project guidance. And this is what was done in stage 2, and continuing in stage 3, the projects are managed through this funnel with integrated strategy development, preclinical validation, manufacturing, regulatory guidance, all the way towards the end of the funnel of clinical trial preparation and submission of FDA packages. So projects can exit vertically at any point if they're licensed or picked up by a corporate entity, or they can continue horizontally through the funnel with the ultimate goal of not just exiting through the FDA into a clinical trial, but shepherding the projects towards the long-term goal of ultimate clinical adoption. And that's been done by a number of means. I want to highlight one. This is a strategy that we published in JDR a couple of years ago, and it's derivative from one of our advisors, Kay Fuller, who her regulatory management company has come up with a questionnaire, really a template for guiding projects and assessing projects in both the medical device space as well as the drug space. And this is a template that we use to guide projects and their milestones from initial planning through the different stages of preclinical development, of feasibility, verification, validation, all the way up to the ultimate clinical preparation and IND, IDE, study preparation, and FDA submissions. The full template is part of this manuscript in JDR. So where we're at as a resource center, just about all of our teams have their IP in place. All of our teams have collaborated with our market assessment cores, have had some type of corporate engagement, and about 80% have had some type of FDA submission. So I think these are the metrics that motivated the program. And while the data is not crisp in terms of NIH R-Series grants resulting in these metrics, I think qualitatively we could say that these metrics perhaps exceed by a large amount the translational metrics for traditional funding. We are kind of agnostic in our portfolio in terms of technology type, although we lean more heavily towards devices because of our front loading of a lot of the regulatory assessment and regulatory burden, agnostic in terms of tissues, fairly balanced between academic institutions and small companies, and the academic institutions are split between those that are partners in our resource center and those that are external, and we're about 40% female and minority status in PIs of our portfolio. A lot of updates in just the past year. A full list of updates can be found in our annual report, but to highlight a few that are in red, acknowledge Greenmark Biomedical. They secured some equity financing early last year and received a competitive pitch award early this year. Acknowledge ITP from Osteo that has additional funding through an SBIR mechanism. Two additional teams have received gifts from a corporate partner to help sustain their work. Technology out of the University of Pittsburgh has resulted in a company, Araxis Therapeutics, being formed. Other technologies at the University of Pittsburgh have received internal momentum funding, and RevBio a couple of months ago received a nice strategic investment and is able to start clinical trials in Europe. So congratulations to all of those teams on their advancements. In terms of a return on investment, there's been about over 20 follow-on funding activities that's resulted in a little less than $20 million in follow-on funding, and that money is bucketed into SBIR grants, other federal grants, gifts, and fundraising, and you can see the distribution of that $19 million in those different buckets. So congratulations to those teams. One of the things I'm most proud of is that we've developed this structure and processes for the Resource Center with no template. And as a result, we're nimble. We listen to the ITP teams, we listen to the NIH, and adapt as needed. So we asked ourselves a question last year. In addition to the letter of the original RFA, in which success was defined as FDA submissions, we asked the question, what else constitutes a successful exit and within the time frame of the DocTrack program? And how can we, as a resource center, support and shepherd the projects to reach such successful exits? So last summer, when things opened up, we had an operating committee retreat, and we identified several outcomes that could benefit from modifications. Being able to provide more clinical feedback, more clinical support for the ITP teams, providing the ITP teams better understanding of the composition and roles of the teams that were advising them. There's a lot of layers to the Resource Center, and admittedly, it might not have been clear to the ITP teams whose voice was associated with what comments. We wanted to reduce the administrative burden, still capture the spirit of this is more of an industrial genre of a program than an academic program, and it needs to be more checks and balances, but we wanted to do that without overdue administrative burden, and also enhance the structure for keeping things accountable, since this is milestone driven and things need to move at a more rapid pace. So we've done some modifications to the advising structure, and this will be communicated to the project teams as we launch the next cycle. So the original project structure was all members from all cores constitute the advisory team. They would review progress on a quarterly basis. There would be formal quarterly check-ins, but the check-ins were sporadically attended. Sometimes key members of advisory teams couldn't make it. Some members of advisory teams were on just about all ITPs, and their bandwidth was being compromised. So we developed a modified structure going forward in which the elements of the advisory team will remain the same, but a lot more weight will be put on the product development components, and they'll manage the day-to-day operations, be in the most regular contact with the ITPs, and they'll meet really on an as-needed basis, really jointly assessed between the advisory team and the ITP team. And the motivations for these changes were to keep some consistency across all the ITP teams, better integrate the most critical translational elements, and relieve some of the burden. The subject matter experts, the clinical and end users and industry will be brought in more on an as-needed basis. So the details of this new structure will be communicated as the next cycle of projects are launched. The other modification that'll be communicated is in terms of the burden of reporting from the ITP team. So prior to launching projects, there'll be an assessment of milestones and timeline. That'll be finalized and reviewed by the product development component of the advisory team. After launch, the quarterly reports at the end of the first and third quarters of the year will be tempered down. There'll be just more of a brief update. The more substantive reports at the end of Q2 Q2 and Q4 that are associated with the next tranche of funding will be more like it is now, where the progress is really assessed and the milestones and timeline are gauged, and we'll make assessments of milestones are on target, the next tranche of money can be released, milestones are delayed for some reason, we can give you a no-cost extension for a period of time, or there's significant delays and we need to put up a red flag. So hopefully this reporting will be less onerous and more conducive to giving us the feedback without overburdening the teams. A lot of what we strive to do has been not just guide and manage the ITP teams, but be more of a general resource center. And a big component of that is education and training elements, cultivating next generation of translational personnel that have a better understanding of what's needed to truly translate technologies, particularly in the doc space. So all of our training materials, videos from various retreats are on our website. We use the resource centers to leverage opportunities at our partner institutions with T32 training programs, other aspects of commercialization training, tweaking that training for regenerative medicine specificity or doc specificity, leveraging partner funding opportunities and broader initiatives in regenerative medicine. The Translational Development Questionnaire has been published. That's in the public domain, and the overall stage gate process for translational development is out there as a resource. So really the goal of all of this is to build a pipeline of better translational expertise, as well as continue with new RFAs. We have a translational consult program that's open to anyone for a number of hours of free guidance from the Resource Center, and helping prepare the ITPs for clinical trials and beyond. So all of this falls under more of an educational and training umbrella. The last thing I want to touch on is looking forward, what's going to come at the end of stage 3. So we've are undergoing a sustainability initiative in which we're looking at different stakeholders and working with them to understand what their interests are, what they see as the value in the resource centers relative to what we see as our value, and then what is the uniqueness of the DocTrack program, what's the value that we can provide to different stakeholders. So these are listening sessions more than discussion sessions, and we've identified the different groups of stakeholders, starting with the ITP teams themselves, industry that we currently work with, industries that are more at arm's length, partners in funding, be they federal agencies, investors, philanthropy, standards and professional organizations, foundations, or organizations that may have similar missions within the doc space. Those stakeholders have been identified. We're in the process of listening sessions with a series of targeted questions, really revolving around what they see as the value in us, what our uniqueness is, what they may see as some avenues of engagement. After that, we will synthesize what we've heard from the different stakeholders and come up with a vision for where we think we should go next. And this will all be in partnership with the NIH, certainly not in a vacuum. So again, the agenda for today, after I wrap up here, we'll transition into most of the day hearing from the different ITP teams, followed by the exhibit hall this afternoon, and then the networking sessions tomorrow. So thank you for opportunity to give you an update, and I'll be happy to take any quick questions from the floor.